3 hours into a flight from Chicago to Frankfurt. Row 24 goes silent. Not the peaceful, sleeping kind of silent. The terrifying kind. A gentleman, let's call him Robert, about 68 years old, just slumped over. His wife started screaming. Now, I'm in the back galley, prepping for the second service. And when I hear that specific pitch of a scream, I know the coffee can wait. I sprinted up the aisle. Robert wasn't responding. He was gray. We had to divert. We dumped thousands of pounds of fuel, landed in Newfoundland, and paramedics rushed him off. Here is the kicker. Robert didn't have a heart attack, he didn't have a stroke. Robert had severe dehydration, coupled with the effects of cabin pressure that mimicked a cardiac event because he made one simple mistake before he even boarded the plane. A mistake that 90% of you watching this right now are probably planning to make on your next trip. If you are over 60, the way you fly is fundamentally different from the way a 20-year-old backpacker flies. Your physiology has changed. The risks have changed, and the airlines. They absolutely do not care. They are banking on you not knowing the difference. My name is Benny. I've been a flight attendant for 15 years. I've logged over 5 million miles. I've delivered babies at 35,000 feet. And I've held the hands of people taking their last breath in seat 14C. I'm not here to recite the safety card. I'm here to tell you the truth about what happens to your body, your wallet, and your safety when you cross that jet bridge after age 60. And I'm going to share the specific insider protocols that veteran crew members use to protect their own families. Protocols that nobody at the check-in counter will ever warn you about. You need to understand something about the environment I work in. The airplane cabin is not designed for human comfort. It is designed for maximum yield per square inch. But physically, it's a hostile environment. Let's start with the hypoxia trap. This is the #1 thing that catches my older passengers off guard. You see, on a standard commercial flight, we pressurize the cabin, but we don't pressurize it to sea level. That would blow the fuselage apart. We pressurize it to the equivalent of about 6,000 to 8,000 feet. Imagine you are instantly transported from your living room to the top of a mountain in Colorado. That is what happens the moment we reach cruising altitude. For a college kid, maybe they get a little sleepy, but if you are over 60, or if you have any underlying respiratory issues, cardiac history, or even just high blood pressure, your blood oxygen saturation drops. Immediately. I see this every single shift. A passenger orders a gin and tonic to relax. Then they fall asleep. Their breathing shallows, the oxygen levels in their blood plummet. When they wake up, they are confused, groggy, maybe stumbling to the lavatory. They think it's just jet lag. It's not. It's mild hypoxia. And it is dangerous because it impairs your judgment. I have seen savvy, intelligent retirees leave their passports in the seat pocket, forget their bags, or get into arguments with customs agents, simply because their brains literally aren't getting the fuel they need. So, here is the rule. If you are flying, buy a pulse oximeter. They cost $20 at the pharmacy. Clip it on your finger when we hit cruise. If you see that number drop below 90, you need to practice deep, diaphragmatic breathing. And for the love of everything holy, skip the alcohol. I know. You're on vacation, you want to celebrate. But alcohol at altitude hits you like a sledgehammer. It suppresses your breathing further. Have the wine when you land. On the plane, your drink of choice needs to be tomato juice. Yeah, I know, it sounds gross. But there is a reason you see so many people drinking it. At altitude, your taste buds change. You lose about 30% of your ability to taste salt and sweet. But the savory taste, the umami? That stays. Tomato juice tastes better in the air. But more importantly, it has electrolytes. It keeps your blood volume up, which helps fight the next monster I need to warn you about. The clot. We call it economy class syndrome. But the medical term is deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. This is the silent killer. I have lost count of the number of times we have landed. Everyone stands up to get their bags, and someone collapses in the aisle. Here is the physiology: you are sitting in a cramped seat. Your legs are bent. The blood flow slows down. If you are over 60, your veins aren't as elastic as they used to be. A clot forms in your calf. It feels like a cramp. Maybe a Charlie horse. You rub it, you ignore it, then you land. You stand up, that clot dislodges. It travels to your lungs. Pulmonary embolism? Game over. I am not trying to scare you. Well, actually, I am. I'm trying to scare you enough to change your behavior, because avoiding this is incredibly easy, yet nobody does it. The airlines want you to stay in your seat with your seatbelt fastened. It's easier for us. It keeps the aisles clear for the cart. But as a human being who wants you to live, I am telling you, get up. Every hour. You don't need to run a marathon, just walk to the bathroom and back. But here is the secret weapon that almost no passenger uses. It's called the ankle pump. You can do this while you are sitting. Keep your heels on the floor and lift your toes as high as you can. Then put your toes on the floor and lift your heels as high as you can. Do this repeatedly. It acts like a pump for your venous system, forcing blood back up to your heart. Do it during the commercials of whatever movie you're watching. And compression socks. Listen to me closely. If you are over 60 and you get on a plane for more than 3 hours without compression socks, you are playing Russian roulette with your vascular system. Not the cute, fluffy socks your grandkids gave you. Medical grade, graduated compression. Put them on before you leave the house. Now, let's pivot to something that makes my blood boil. The way the industry manipulates you into spending money you don't need to spend, while simultaneously putting you in the worst seats on the plane. Have you noticed that when you book a ticket now, almost every decent seat has a price tag, preferred seating, main cabin extra? It's all marketing nonsense. They use an algorithm that knows exactly what you are willing to pay. And they know that older travelers value comfort and security, so they target you. But here is the truth about seat safety and comfort that the seating chart won't tell you. Everyone fights for the front of the plane. They want to get off first. I get it, but the smoothest ride is over the wings. That is the center of gravity. If you hate turbulence, if you have a bad back, sit over the wing. The back of the plane, it moves like the tail of a fish. It's bumpy. However, if the flight isn't full, where are the empty seats? Always in the back. If you want a poor man's business class, meaning a whole row to yourself to lie down, book the aisle seat in the last few rows. Most people avoid them. I've seen couples in their 70s book 2 seats in the very back, hoping the middle stays empty, and it usually does. But there is a specific seat you need to avoid at all costs. I call it the phantom row. On some aircraft configurations, usually, the row right in front of the exit row, the seats do not recline. Not an inch, because if they did, they would block the exit path. But the booking websites often don't mark these clearly. You show up, expecting to relax, and you are stuck at a 90-degree angle for 6 hours. Before you book, use a site like SeatGuru. Check the aircraft type. Do not trust the airline's map. Now I want to talk about something a bit more delicate. The bathroom, the lavatory. If you have mobility issues, or if you just aren't as steady on your feet as you used to be, the airplane lavatory is a death trap. It's tiny, the floor is often wet. And let me tell you, that is not water. Turbulence can hit without warning. I have seen more broken hips and fractured wrists happen near the lavatory than anywhere else. Here is the insider tip: use the handicap-accessible lavatory. Even if you aren't in a wheelchair, on wide-body planes, the big ones with 2 aisles, there is usually a lavatory with a movable wall that combines 2 bathrooms into one large one. Or, simply look for the one with the grab bars. And here is a pro tip for locking the door. You know that slide lock, sometimes it gets stuck. Or you think it's locked, but the light outside doesn't turn red. I've walked in on, well, let's just say I've seen more than I ever wanted to see. Always pull back on the handle after you lock it to double check. Speaking of hygiene, Let's have a serious conversation about the water. You will see flight attendants drinking bottled water, always. You will rarely, if ever, see us drinking coffee or tea brewed on the plane. Why? Because the water comes from the aircraft's onboard water tank. These tanks are cleaned, theoretically. But the frequency? Let's just say it varies, and the ports where they fill the water, they are often right next to the ports where they drain the lavatory waste. A tired ramp worker, a slip of the hand. I don't want to gross you out, but E. coli is not a myth in aircraft water tanks. If you are over 60, your immune system is precious. Do not gamble it on a cup of mediocre airplane coffee. Bring your own tea bag. Ask for a cup of hot water from the galley. Ask for bottled water. If you need heat, ask for a cup of hot water, but use it to warm up a sealed bottle of milk or something. Don't ingest it. Just stick to sealed beverages, cans and bottles. That is your safety zone. I'm going to pause here for a second, because what I'm about to tell you next, regarding your medication, is probably the most important logistical advice in this entire video. But before I do, if you are finding value in this, if you want to fly like a pro, and avoid these traps that the airline set for you, do me a favor and subscribe. I'm tired of seeing my passengers suffer, and I want to build a community of travelers who know the real deal. Okay, medication. I had a passenger, lovely lady, flying to visit her grandkids in London. She checked her bag. In that bag was her heart medication and her insulin. You can guess what happened. We landed in London. Her bag decided to go to Madrid. She was frantic. It was a holiday weekend. Pharmacies were closed or couldn't fill a US prescription. It was a medical emergency waiting to happen. Here is the golden rule. Medication never ever ever goes in the cargo hold. I don't care if it's a giant bottle of vitamins or your life-saving pills. It stays on your person. But here is the part nobody tells you about liquid medication restrictions. The TSA 3411 rule, it does not apply to liquid medications. You can bring a 12-ounce bottle of cough syrup or a specialized liquid supplement if it is medically necessary. You just have to declare it. Don't let a zealous security agent tell you otherwise. Stand your ground. And for those of you traveling with medical devices, like a CPAP machine, do not let the airline count that as your carry-on. Medical devices fly for free. They are exempt from baggage limits. If a gate agent tries to tell you that you have too many bags because you have a purse, a carry-on, and a CPAP, you look them in the eye and say, the CPAP is an FDA-approved medical device and is exempt from carry-on limits. They will back down. Let's talk about the gate lysis phenomenon. You know what I'm talking about. The people who crowd the boarding area 30 minutes before the flight starts boarding. It creates stress. It creates a mob. If you are over 60, you have a secret weapon, pre-boarding. Now, people abuse this. We see the jetway Jesuses. People who need a wheelchair to get on the plane. But miraculously are healed and can sprint off the plane when we land. We hate that, but if you genuinely need extra time, if you move a little slower, if you have stiff knees, if the anxiety of the crowd bothers you, you are entitled to pre-board. You do not need to explain your medical history to the gate agent. You just go up to the desk before boarding starts and say, I need a little extra time to get down the jet bridge. By law, they have to let you board early. Use this time. Get on the plane. Stow your bag without fighting a 20-year-old for bin space. Get settled. Wipe down your seat. Yes, wipe it down. Tray table, armrest, seatbelt buckle. Those places are petri dishes. Now, I want to address the nice guy paradox. My older passengers are usually the sweetest people on the plane. You say please, and thank you. You don't want to be a bother. You sit in your broken seat for 8 hours without complaining, because you don't want to make a fuss. Stop it, you paid for a service. If your seat doesn't recline, if your entertainment screen is broken, if there is a cold draft freezing you, tell us. But tell us early. If you tell me at the end of the flight, oh, by the way, my television didn't work. There is nothing I can do, I can't fix it, and I can't compensate you. But if you tell me right away, I can reset the system. I might be able to move you to a better seat. If the flight is full, I have a device, a tablet, where I can issue you miles or a travel voucher right there on the spot as an apology. But you have to speak up. Kindness gets you everywhere with flight attendants. We are abused all day long by entitled jerks. When a sweet older lady comes up and says, "Excuse me, Benny, I'm so sorry to bother you, but my seat seems to be wet." I will move mountains for her. I will move a platinum member out of their seat if I have to. Use your kindness as a tool, but combine it with assertiveness. Let's talk about your feet. Please keep your shoes on. I know, your feet swell. It's uncomfortable. But do you know what is on the floor of the lavatory? I mentioned it earlier. It's not water. Do you know what is on the aisle carpet? Crumbs, glass shards from a dropped wine glass 3 flights ago, vomit that was cleaned up mostly. Wear loose shoes, slip-ins are great, but keep them on. If we have an emergency, and statistically, emergencies happen during takeoff and landing, you do not want to be scrambling for your loafers while the cabin is filling with smoke. You need to be ready to move. And speaking of emergencies, let's shatter a myth, the brace position. You've heard the conspiracy theories. Oh, the brace position is just designed to preserve dental records. That is absolute garbage. I have studied the crash dynamics. I have seen the simulations. The brace position saves lives. It stops your body from jackkniffing over the seatbelt and snapping your spine. It protects your head from hitting the seat in front of you. If you are older, your bones are more brittle. The G-forces in a rejected takeoff or a rough landing can be severe. If I yell, "Brace, brace," do not look around. Do not grab your purse. Put your head down, hands over your head, feet flat on the floor. It is the difference between walking away with a bruise and being carried away on a stretcher. Let's move to something lighter, but equally important. The hidden menu. Airlines have cut back on food service. You get a bag of pretzels and a smile. But did you know that on most long-haul flights, there is extra food? We just don't advertise it because we don't have enough for everyone. If you are diabetic, or if you just need to eat at a specific time to take your meds, and the service is delayed, come to the galley, talk to us. We often have extra fruit, cheese plates from first class that weren't eaten, or granola bars stashed away. And if you have dietary restrictions, low sodium, gluten-free, you must order that 24 hours in advance online. We do not carry spares. I have had passengers get angry because they assumed we would have a vegetarian option. Sometimes we do, but often the pasta runs out, and you're left with the chicken or hunger. Take control of your food. I personally always travel with a bag of unsalted almonds and a protein bar. Always, I never rely on the airline to feed me. Here is another secret about the system. The lost luggage game. Airlines lose bags. It's a fact of life. But did you know that the tag they put on your bag is actually quite fragile? It can get ripped off in the belt system. If you are over 60, you likely have valuables in there. Maybe sentimental items. Place a sheet of paper inside your suitcase, right on top of your clothes. Write your name, your flight number, your destination, and your cell phone number in big bold letters. If the outside tag gets ripped off, the baggage handlers will open the bag to look for ID. If they see that paper, you get your bag back in a day. If they don't, your bag goes to a warehouse in Alabama, where they sell your clothes by the pound. And while we are on luggage, wait. You shouldn't be lifting 40-pound bags into the overhead bin. You just shouldn't. It's a recipe for a torn rotator cuff. I see it constantly. A gentleman trying to be chivalrous, heaving a massive roller bag over his head. His face turning red. I am technically not required to lift your bag. It's in our union contract. If I get hurt lifting your bag, I don't get workman's comp. However, most of us will help if you ask nicely. But better yet, check the bag. But Benny, they charge for checked bags. Get an airline credit card. Almost all of them give you a free checked bag. The annual fee is usually less than the cost of checking a bag on one round trip. It pays for itself immediately. Save your shoulders, walk on the plane with just a small tote. You will feel lighter, less stressed, and you won't hold up the boarding process. Let's talk about jet lag and the older traveler. Your circadian rhythm is not as flexible as it was when you were 30. Recovery takes longer. The rule of thumb is 1 day of recovery for every time zone crossed. But here is the trick regarding light. Light is the drug. If you land in Paris and it's morning, you must get sunlight in your eyes. Do not go to the hotel and sleep, push through. However, on the plane, create your own night. Eye masks are crucial. But not the cheap flimsy ones the airline gives you. Get a contoured eye mask that doesn't press on your eyelids. Combine that with noise-canceling headphones. I cannot stress this enough. The constant drone of the engine, that white noise, actually increases cortisol levels in your body. It induces stress. Noise-canceling headphones are not a luxury, they are a health device. They lower your heart rate, they make the flight physically less exhausting. If you don't have a pair, put them on your birthday list. Finally, I want to leave you with a thought about attitude. The golden age of travel is dead. It's gone. It's a bus in the sky. But your experience is largely determined by your preparation and your mindset. When you walk on my plane, you are entering a metal tube hurtling through the stratosphere at 500 miles an hour. It is a miracle of engineering, but it is a biological challenge. You have the power to mitigate the risks. Hydrate like it's your job. Wear the socks, skip the coffee, wipe the seat, speak up when something is wrong, and one last thing. A personal favor to me and my colleagues. We are trained to save your life. We are firefighters, paramedics, and security officers wrapped in a polyester uniform. When we ask you to do something, like open your window shade or put your tray table up, we aren't doing it to be annoying. We are doing it because if things go south, that open window shade lets us see which side of the plane is on fire, so we don't evacuate you into an engine. Respect the safety culture. You've worked hard your whole life. You deserve to travel. You deserve to see the pyramids, the Great Wall, or just your grandkids in Ohio. Don't let a preventable medical incident or a bureaucratic trap ruin it. Fly smart. Fly safe. And next time you see me in the galley, say hello. Maybe bring us a bag of chocolates. I promise you, we'll treat you like royalty. If you found this helpful, hit that like button so the algorithm shows this to more travelers who need to hear it. Stay safe up there. Benny out.